I'm Maurice Patton along with Wade Neely as we come to you from the Lee Company studios of our homes. And we are now joined by the victorious Nashville Cats coach, Dean Kokinos, whose team came off of a 3-week layoff to go to Orlando and down the Predators 62-32 on Friday night to open playoff action. Coach, appreciate you taking some time with us because I know that you are game planning for another playoff game.
Yeah, we are. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, good to see your faces again.
Good to see you as well. Again, congrats. How concerned were you going into that game just from the standpoint that you had not played in 3 weeks?
Well, that's a first for us. For me personally, it was quite a long bye. So it was almost a month in between games when you get down to getting on the field and playing. So it wasn't too big of a concern. We got our quarterback that we targeted all year. Finally got him in here for that last game in Billings. And it was good for him to catch up a little bit with the other guys in our offense, made some changes here and there. And he got some of the injured guys healed up a little bit. So it was a little concerning how we'd come out, but we came out pretty fast and furious. So it worked out well for us.
That's a really good team that you beat. Was it as simple as you getting your quarterback?
Pretty much. Yeah, he makes us.
We'll talk more about
he's a missing piece now. We've had a pretty good team all year, and we've got some really talented players. And but in this game, as you know, going is way back when Andy Kelly was here throwing back in the late '90s for the Cats. Arena football is all about the quarterback, and we have the best guy in the league right now. So he makes us whole.
Talk a little bit more about Randy Hippard and what took so long to get him in here.
Well, he hadn't played in 5 years, so the league went away. He's getting up there in age. Took a little bit of convincing, and I think more about him. He's looking to the next phase of his life. He's starting to do these quarterback clinics and camps, and he wants to get into coaching. So for him, part of it's coming in and teaching these young guys. He's pretty much a player coach for us right now on the field. So he's getting his opportunity to get on the field, not just as a player, but letting him, run some meetings with the players, do some drills with the players, put together game plans with us. So I think for him, it's a next step to his career, an opportunity not only to play, but to get into coaching.
What do you like about him? I mean, obviously he threw for 7 touchdowns the other night. He threw for 6 in your regular season finale. You're getting him ingrained, but what is it that makes him, the best quarterback in the AFL right now?
Well, he's a really experienced guy. You go back, you go through his history, but he gets the ball out fast in this game. The ball's got to come out. He makes fast decisions. Is nothing he hasn't seen on the field. And he's tough. I mean, he's a coach on the field. I just think his ability to get the ball fast and be an accurate thrower and a really big competitor. This guy wants to win at everything he does. So he's just a complete player. He's a really good quarterback, and I played many games against him. We go, through a 10-year span, and he was tough to play against. Man, he'll keep you up at night because he's going to score when he has the ball. He's going to score. So fortunately, he's with us now.
Yeah, certainly rather have him in your uniform than anybody else's, yeah. I would imagine.
Dean Kokinos, the Nashville Cats coach, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, as they get set for a Saturday contest back out to Billings. You get to go to Billings, Montana twice in 1 year, Dean. I mean, I guess you realize just how lucky you are, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Yeah. So if I'm going out there for a vacation, it's great. It's beautiful. Everything as advertised. Wow, that was a bit of a trip now. That first time we went out there. So hopefully we're going to clean up the travel arrangements a little bit cleaner this time. It was a long trip for us, the players. So being on the road now back to back, we'll plan accordingly this time. But no, we're happy to keep playing. We're happy to be in round 2, semifinals, and going back to Billings.
Since May 1st, 2023, only Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge have hit more home runs than Ozuna's 61. Ohtani has 65. Judge has 63. So I mean, he's as good a candidate to participate in the Derby as anybody, but at the same time, I get concerned when it's one of our guys.
Well, you said he wanted to get to 30, didn't get there, and he's like, I'm gonna get 30.
I'm gonna get there.
I'm gonna get there one way or the other. And
Whether they count or not, yeah, I'm gonna get 30 home runs. Yeah,
I'm gonna hit me some home runs. But I agree with you. And this is the one weird thing, right? And it's kind of like the NBA with the slam dunk contest a little bit. You kind of wonder where the guys are with their headspace, and obviously, you certainly. The worst case, you're thinking hopefully no injuries. But, I mean, in this event in particular, you just always hear, or it feels like you always hear about, guys swinging themselves in or out of a hot streak by trying to hit too many home runs. And
now
the dude can bop. There's no doubt about it.
Now, to be completely fair, I do feel like the Home Run Derby a couple of years ago really unlocked something for Albert Pujols in his final year. Because you remember the tear that he went on after the All-Star break. So, maybe it can break something loose. But again, Ozuna's got 23 homers. He's in a good spot right now. I don't need too much to change for him.
Yeah, so. And I'm with you there. The chatter always, and it's probably more of managers that you kind of hear say that stuff, whether they say it on the record or not, or coaching staffs are worried about their guys. But man, it's an event for the fans. If you should be, I'll tell you what, Major League Baseball is wanting the biggest guys to be in this, and what the managers say or do, throw that to the side, because this is supposed to be a fun event. MLB wants the eyeballs, and even though they've made some tweaks over the years, the Home Run Derby is still that one event that kind of gets you excited, no matter if you've been tuning into baseball or not all season.
Chicks dig the long ball.
Amen.
I think guys do too, by the way. I don't think that's a gender-specific thing at all. I'm just kind of referencing an old commercial. Google it. Again, Ozuna, Sale, and Lopez representing the Atlanta Braves in next Tuesday's game out in Arlington. Houston with a couple of starters. Second baseman Jose Altuve and designated hitter Yordan Alvarez will both be starting for the American League in this matchup. And conspicuously absent, Ronel Blanco.
Yeah, I mean, I would, if you got to pick, obviously it's a bit weird with pitchers and hitters being kind of two different rosters, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as who's worthy of a bid, of all those three, Blanco is the one that's the most worthy in my mind. And unfortunately, he was left off. And this is kind of what we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago, where you got the fan vote element that comes in. Altuve is such a lovable guy and has got such a fan following that even in years where you're not maybe having your best year, you're still going to get a lot of love, obviously.
Absolutely. Kyle Tucker has also been named to the game, but with his injury situation, he is not expected to play.
He's been the offensive MVP for sure for Houston.
979 OPS, 19 homers. That's solid. So,
and when Altuve's been dinged up or struggling throughout the early part of the year, when half the team has been struggling or dinged up early part of the year, Tucker was the guy that was keeping them in games or winning games for them early. So it does feel a little rather unfortunate that he won't get to kind of fully bear that out, but it was good that he was at least given a hat tip, as it were.
Absolutely. As of right now, you've got 32 players who will be making their All-Star game debuts this season. Among them is former Tennessee pitcher Garrett Crochet of the Chicago White Sox and Paul Skeens of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, I've seen it in enough places and from enough people that I feel like it needs addressing. Paul Skeens should not start for the National League in the All-Star game.
Is that going around?
There are those, including, quote, knowledgeable Major League Baseball people, one of whom actually presented me my Tennessee Sports Writers of the Year award at the National Sports Media Association Awards banquet a couple of years. Jeff Passan of ESPN is among those on the Skeens to start train. And I mean, the guy has had a nice couple of months. But 2 months ago, he was in Indianapolis in AAA. And obviously I feel like Sale should get the start at 11-3 with an ERA of below 3, but if it's not him, it certainly doesn't need to be somebody who has been in the majors for less than 2 months. Paul Skeens is going to start an All-Star game. Paul Skeens is going to start some All-Star games. Paul Skeens doesn't need to start this All-Star game.
This is decided by whom? I forget. Is it up to the manager? How does this work?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, in conjunction with, in the pitcher's case, their managers, because they'll kind of say, hey, this guy, stay away from him. This guy's available. This guy don't go too deep. Starters probably, other than the starter, probably won't go more than an inning anyway. But, if a guy threw on Saturday or Sunday, he's probably going to be off limits for Tuesday night's game. So, I guess as much as anything, it's going to come down to when Skeens' last start going into the All-Star game would be. But I mean, I cannot imagine that is something that is a realistic opportunity. Again, he's had a fantastic part.
CBS with an article. CBS with an article. Who should start the game? Paul Skeens. So yeah, I wasn't hearing this, but seems like it is picking up some steam. I will say this is a pretty cool thing to think about. If you got Altuve at the leadoff and then somebody like Soto right before you get to Judge. I mean, I'm kind of getting almost goosebumps thinking about, like Pedro with 5 Ks in 2 innings, back in 99 type vibes if Skeens comes out and just mows those guys down. But, yeah, you're right. There certainly are other candidates that are worthy. And that's why I was curious who kind of makes that call. Mm-hmm. Because if MLB's got anything to do with it, I would not be shocked if that is. How about, I saw this earlier too. First ever pitcher taken #1 overall and then makes the All-Star team. The list includes Paul Skeens, and that's it.
Wow.
He is the list.
I am him, said Skeens. One of one, as the kids like to say. That's pretty impressive. The only pitcher taken #1 to make an All-Star.
Yep, in the next season or in his season, yeah.
That's kind of crazy. But to your point though, and this is something that someone mentioned in a Facebook conversation I was in, that they like the idea of Skeens going up against the best healthy hitters in the AL. And if you're not starting, then there's the risk that you're not going to see, Soto, Altuve, some of those guys. So, I mean, I get it from that standpoint. You want to see that matchup, but I think I want to see the guys who have had the best first halves of the season, have that performance, that whole first half rewarded, I guess. So, but I guess it's an interesting discussion. And I think when you frame it the way you framed it, it's a little more palatable of a thought that, to see him in Soto and to see him in, Jose Ramirez or Judge or whoever else is in the top of that order for the AL. So
yeah, you got him versus Judge. I mean, that is must-see television right there.
Yeah. Sort of like him and Ohtani a couple of weeks ago in a regular season game. So yeah, it's I can see it.
Yeah, and you're right. The pitching matchups this week, I guess, will kind of give us a little indication of what's to come.
Yeah, I would think so, because again, we'll get a clearer picture of who is actually available to throw and who is not. So yeah, that'll bear watching for sure. And maybe Jeff Passan and CBS Sports are onto something. We'll see. Locally, there's always a Nashville connection. The Dodgers, Mookie Betts, and the Pirates, Brian Reynolds, have both been named to the National League team. I don't know what Mookie's situation is with regards to his injury, whether or not he's going to be able to go. Reynolds is healthy and making his second appearance in as many seasons. The former Brentwood High, former Vanderbilt standout. So congrats to him. You would think if Mookie had been healthy, he might have been a starter, but this will be his 8th All-Star game. Broke his hand on June 16th. Again, don't know if he's going to be back. You wouldn't think. That's awfully quick.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking he was going to be out, kind of like we mentioned with Weathers, until like
couple
August
months
almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that could very well be. Ellie De La Cruz getting his first start. Also, his first All-Star appearance. Also, CJ Abrams. Shortstop is kind of loaded, man.
Yeah, that'll be fun. No matter what shape, form, or fashion De La Cruz is in the game, that'll be fun.
Yeah, that dude. Dynamic, electric, all those other icks. He is them, man. So looking forward to this. I may actually watch this game, and I'm not going out of my way to watch the All-Star game in a pretty good while, to be honest. But with some of these young guys, again, Bobby Witt on the American League team as well. And again, whenever Skeens gets in the game, that's going to be worth watching. So we mentioned Ryan Weathers, who we were pitching as a National League All-Star. Well, Tanner Scott got the Marlins' singular berth on the National League roster.
Yeah, not a shock. I only got one, right?
No, not a shock at all that they only got one. And with Weathers out, not really a shock that it was Tanner Scott. I mean, though they were about the only two even in shouting distance of deserving a spot. So that's what we got there. Uniforms for the All-Star game have been making the rounds on the socials, and they've not been received very well. I don't hate them.
I was going to say, I saw the chatter, and I kind of get it, but I don't mind these.
I don't hate them. I mean, I like the lettering. The more I look at them, the more I like them, actually. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it has kind of become in vogue to bash uniforms. Now, I will say this. I do prefer when whichever league is hosting the game wears their home jerseys and whichever team, the other team wearing their road uniforms of their teams.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my preference, but I guess I'm a little old school like that. But I don't hate these.
Yeah, these aren't bad. I don't. I'm like you. I didn't really get the bashing. Chalk that up to, well, it's early July. We gotta talk about something. I gotta find something to nitpick. So yeah, these are okay.
I've seen worse.
Seen worse, and keep the Fanatics jokes to the side, I guess. But these are pretty sharp in my mind for an exhibition game. I mean,
yes.
I like the hats too. I think those are pretty snazzy. So I can vibe with these.
I don't hate them. about as good as it gets these days.
Yeah, that's true. We're a little low bar these days, but we'll take it.
Absolutely. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
He shoots, and he scores!
Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
And joining us now from 120-degree Las Vegas, Willie G. Ramirez, who is indoors, and that's probably a good place to be.
It is. I appreciate it, guys. And what's funny is I saw all these posts yesterday from people in town while I was at the Aces game, and they were sharing the news stations or the weather service as the temperatures were climbing every time the record was broken. And they were making a big – now, it's one thing if you want to just post, hey, we set a new record. But when they're quoting the posts, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, and they're saying, you know, man, this Vegas heat or hashtag Vegas is too hot, so on and so forth, I'm thinking to myself, you know, I really don't think that there's much of a difference from 116 to 120. I didn't feel a difference. Of course, I'm suited up to every event I go. So when I walked out of Mandalay Bay yesterday, I felt the exact same heat that I felt the day before and the day before. And basically, since the heat has hit Las Vegas, I get it. It's hot, yes, but let's not make that big of a deal about it. You live in Las Vegas. You come to it, just know that it's going to be hot.
You're talking to a couple of guys in the Nashville area, so we pretty well know whereof you speak, Willie. You know, it's hot.
Yeah.
Deal with
it's
it.
humid there, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what I keep hearing about Vegas, Phoenix, that kind of thing. It's a dry heat. Both my kids live out in the Phoenix area, and yeah, it's a dry heat. Yeah, it's still hot. I mean, I've not been there this time of year yet. I guess maybe I should just to get a feel for it. But when I start seeing 116 or 120, like you said, ain't a whole lot of difference in them, but it's not something that's really beckoning me to come out there. I'll tell you who else is hot though. The Las Vegas Aces.
They are
winning
back.
winning 7 of their last 8, falling in overtime on Friday night to the Sparks, but bouncing back with a big win against Dallas, literally a big win, 104-86 last night to get to 13-7. Is it as simple as just getting everybody healthy, Willie?
It was, and I'll be honest with you, I was telling people that, when they were 6-6, I was telling everyone, hey, the league has caught up with them. The league has finally figured things out, and Chelsea Gray returning is not going to be that quick of a fix. I was not buying into that it was going to be that quick of a fix because I was saying one person can't fix the defense, but what she really has been, what she's done, because there was one game she had 4 points and 1 assist. What she's done is she's allowed Kelsey Plum and Jackie Young to return to their roles and never have to be concerned with picking up what Chelsea Gray had sort of, the absence had left, that what she vacated. She has allowed everybody to get back to their role on that team at any given moment, every given moment. And it sort of helped each one of those players thrive in what they're used to doing. So she has made a difference. She just in terms of the chemistry and how the team feels a little bit more comfortable. The players feel less pressure in terms of picking up the slack. Asia Wilson got emotional when I asked her a question not too long ago, and when they got their 6th loss, when they dropped to 6-6, and she had said that she felt that she needed to take accountability for the defensive end. And I asked her, Asia, at times we're watching the greatest player in the world. We see the things you're doing. We see deficiencies elsewhere. Why is it you got to take accountability? And that's when she broke down on the dais, actually, the video that went viral.
Mm-hmm.
And
I didn't realize that was you. I should have known it was you, but I did not realize that was your question. Yeah.
So she got emotional and she just said, because it starts with me and I'm always going to, fall on that sword for my girls. So even Asia was feeling Chelsea Gray's absence in terms of maybe the leadership role and making sure people are in the right spots and, things that Chelsea does. So every little aspect of Chelsea Gray's game, the girls were trying to pick that up in some way, shape, or form. And now they don't have to because she's back. And that means that they can play cohesive basketball in their roles. And that's what we're seeing. As for the loss Friday, it was the 3rd game in 4 nights, the 2nd of a back-to-back after blowing out Washington. They fly to LA at midnight. And I just think that they caught them, dragging. I asked Becky about it yesterday. She said, no excuses. Becky Hammond said, there's no excuses. I don't care. They don't get a pass.
Yeah, just not letting them get away with anything, I suppose.
Can you imagine, guys, for the first half of the season, all we've been talking about realistically is outside of spot times, the Aces in Asia, Connecticut's the Liberty, the Commissioner's Cup, the Lynx, has been Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark, Sky Fever, Rookie of the Year race. Can you imagine if these other teams that are down below the 8th spot make a surge, and all of a sudden the final playoff spot is between the Fever and the Sky? It's a real possibility.
Break the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll set all-time viewership records. That would be a playoff series. That would be, or if it came down to some final meeting out of the Eastern Conference, it would be tremendous. I mean, they probably won't meet because of the way that the seedings work. But it would be incredible if they ended up playing in the playoffs. That would be wild.
Willie, I guess any WNBA show is contractually obligated to mention either Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. Haven't seen Angel, though. Seems like she has really caught fire here in the last couple of weeks, and then has that double-double streak that is just really impressive to see. But I'm curious, when you've seen her, have you seen that growth? Have you seen – because it seems like the first couple of weeks of the season – she was doing okay, but it seems like she still had a quote unquote a lot to learn. But now seems like in the last 2 weeks, even she's really taken her game up to another level.
I'll be honest with you. If you think about this, the season's not even 2 months old. So we're not even 8 weeks into the season. And so the reality is that there was so much focus around the league with everything else that was going on, and it mainly Caitlin Clark, so that she was getting all the headlines. And when they would talk to Angel Reese, if you listen to some of the questions, this is why I don't like a lot of the video journalists that's all they do, the TikTokers, or if you will, because they just put out her sound bites. They put out Caitlin Clark's, they put out Angel Reese's. One sounds hostile, one sounds appreciative and flowery, but they don't include the question. And I think that they were really triggering Angel Reese to answer in a certain manner. And the fact of the matter is, like I said, we are roughly 8 weeks into the season, if that. May 14th was opening night, so you guys do the math. 18 and 30 is 48, and then we're 7 days in till 55. So yeah, we're just 1 day shy of 8 weeks into the season. Angel Reese has been playing some pretty good basketball for almost the entire season. It's just during this double-double streak, we're hearing more and more about it. I did a mid-season or a quarter poll awards article at my site as to who I had, the winner, the runner-up, right there, and then snubbed, as if I snubbed somebody. And I had Angel Reese as Rookie of the Year. I've had Angel Reese as Rookie of the Year. You can go look at the date on my story that I wrote, because I think that overall she's had the better look. They both had incredible seasons, but what you have to look at is what the deficiencies are of both players. And that's what takes away from if you were voting for that player. And I think that Caitlin Clark has struggled a little bit more than Angel Reese. People could talk about her missing her shots and then getting her own rebound, or all she's got to do is hit bunnies. But if she wasn't hitting those shots or she wasn't grabbing those rebounds, wouldn't we be talking about that anyway? Wouldn't we be dogging her if she wasn't doing that? So we have to praise her when she is doing that. So that's her game. That's what she's supposed to be doing. So I love Angel Reese's game. Right now, I think she has the nod for Rookie of the Year. It's not a knock on Caitlin Clark. It has nothing to do with being a Caitlin Clark hater. I get that all the time for some reason. But it's more so just that I think that Angel Reese, is the overall complexion of what she's done has been fantastic. It's incredible. She's the leading rebounder in the league, above Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Jonquel Jones. I mean, I could go on and on with some of these names. I mean, that's a pretty impressive feat for a rookie.
I kind of thought this was an Alabama town. I guess clearly that's not the case.
Nah, it's Tennessee.
Vols country, for sure. I'm like Mo. I thought I'd see a little more crimson, but I guess not. Hey, KT, I do want to ask, since we are in this small town and we're talking about your day, have you been texting your teammates saying who else on the team? Anybody else got a day yet? I'm the only one so far that's got one.
No, hang on.
Hunter Isley had his yesterday.
Okay, so you're not the first, I guess, but you're probably one of the few, I suppose.
And then Dylan, I think he has his next week or sometime this week, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, he had his. Yeah.
You know, it's going to be a little different in Kansas, though, I would think.
They're no offense to anybody.
No offense to anybody from Kansas, but I mean, it's the in-state school, and, you know, Hunter stayed home, you stayed home. As you look up and down that roster, I mean, you played with a lot of guys that you were particularly familiar with, I would imagine, from high school. I mean, A.J. Russell is from Franklin. There's some other guys. There's a lot of in-state flavor on this team. How special does that make this for y'all?
I mean, I think it definitely means a lot to, especially, you know, us guys that are from Tennessee. But yeah, I played with, you know, I played against Beam, Drew Beam, played against Andrew Binky in high school, which I have a funny story about him that frustrates me to this day. But
well, yeah. We got time.
All right, so Andrew Binky, he's one of our pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
He went to DCA, and we played him one day up at their field, and he had a broken wrist, and he went 4 for 4 bunts against us. And I'm telling you, he's one of my best friends, so I'll say this. I wanted to beat him up so bad during that game. I was so mad at him.
He wasn't bunting off of you, was he?
No, I was at first.
Oh,
he was just like he's just like really, really fast. And I kept telling him, I was like, dude, swing the bat.
Did y'all know his wrist was broken?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
I had no clue. Like, I was like chirping him, like, come on, dude. What are you doing?
Oh, that's awesome. Kavares Tears joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. So what is the what's the itinerary for this afternoon? I know at 4:30 you are being recognized over here on the courthouse steps, and County Mayor Mike Kinney is going to be reading the proclamation, and then at 6 you're going in front of the city council. Are you going to be speaking at any point?
Yeah, I think I will be sharing a few words towards the end.
You looking forward to that?
I'm trying not to get butterflies right now, so I try not to think about it as much as possible at the moment. But
bigger butterflies this afternoon, this evening, or that Monday night in Omaha?
Definitely this speaking in front of a lot of people is not my forte.
20 home runs. One of 5 UT players to hit 20 home runs, which set a Division I record. 73 runs scored, 62 RBIs, 16 doubles, and 324 batting average. Each of those were among the top 4 totals for the National Championship Volunteers. Not that you weren't capable, but I mean, when you hear those numbers, when you look at those numbers, what do you think about the season you had individually?
If I'm gonna be honest, I think I kind of undershot myself going into the season. Some of the goals I had kind of set, aside for myself, like personally. But at the same time, before this, I had never really, played too much, so I didn't, I knew I was. I knew I was okay, but like I didn't know like what I was fully capable of doing, like in a year's worth of at bats and playing time. So, I kind of didn't really. I don't know. I didn't really.
You didn't have a feel.
Yeah, I didn't have a good feel. Of some of the goals I want to do. So I kind of just put all that to the side and was just play hard.
As you look back at this season for yourself individually, what are you most impressed with?
Definitely defense. Our pitchers are up there, especially in the hot sun, throwing pitches, and I think it feels good to be able to kind of save them some pitches or get them out of a jam.
This was such a fun team and such a special team. For folks that tuned in late, whether it was just in Omaha or in the regionals or super regionals, what would you like for people that tuned in late to remember about this team throughout the whole season? Because it's, to me at least, without watching a ton of those games until Omaha, it seemed like everybody was just had each other's backs, if nothing else. And I feel like that goes so far in college baseball.
No, yeah, I think that is literally that can sum up our whole season. I think from top to bottom, the lineup, our bullpen, our starters, guys on the bench, our coaches, everybody, I think we all had each other's backs. Regardless of the situation. So I think that played, a huge role in, allowing us to be able to, hoist the trophy at the end of that last game.
Have they already said anything about bringing you guys back to Knoxville for, everybody on the internet immediately was like, man, it'd be cool if they came back for that Alabama game and brought them out, on the 50 at Neyland. Has that already been discussed that you know of? Or
I know there's something been discussed. I think it's still kind of, staying kind of low key right now, but I think there'll be something out about it soon.
Stay tuned, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, it sounds like stay tuned. Absolutely. So you flew up to New York right after the World Series, did some stuff at MLB Network, that kind of thing. There's a little deal coming up this weekend, the Major League Baseball draft. Excited?
Yeah, I'm excited, curious. Again, kind of a wide range of different emotions going on around here.
I talked to Tony V in January. He was up at Cool Springs for a coach's clinic, and you were a redshirt sophomore this year, and he said, if people want to see Kavares Tears, they better get a good look at him this year, because there's a very good chance he's not going to be back. Now, even though you're a redshirt sophomore and the draft is juniors eligible because you are a redshirt sophomore. You are eligible for the draft.
Yes, sir. Yes,
They have seen the last of Kavaris Tears at Knoxville, haven't they?
Yes, sir. I will be trying to forego my next few years of eligibility and take whatever I can get in the draft.
Well, I think that's a smart decision. Not that it matters whether I do or not, but what is it about pursuing your professional career at this point that excites you?
I mean, I guess it's just one step closer to getting to a dream I've had since I was 8 years old, and with every step, God has blessed me to get closer. There's the percentage of that gets smaller and smaller with every step. So I'm just blessed to be able to, still be a part of that percent, still playing. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity.
You guys are getting ready. July 20th, big ceremony taking place. It's kind of a fun event. It really kind of sneaks up on us every year. You mentioned that this year's just flying by. What can you tell us about what should be another exciting year
Hang on before we do that, because the last time we talked to you, there was still one.
That's right.
One inductee who had not been gotcha'd.
That's right.
I assume that has been remedied.
That was Pecorine. And a biggie, frankly. Pekka, it's when we're talking about, Nashville Predators and throughout history, I mean, there's only one who's had his number retired. There's only one who's got a statue in front of Bridgestone Arena. And obviously, Vezina Trophy winner and so many accolades from his time. Basically owns, essentially every franchise, netminder record that there is to have. And is maybe a better individual than he is a hockey player. I mean, that's the thing that everybody would tell you is that, Pecorine is just next level when it comes to being a person. And so really excited that he's part of this class. We announced our honorees in that same window. We're honoring the late Thomas Wilson with our significant historical achievement award, and obviously Tom Wilson Park and everything that he did in terms of bringing the Negro Leagues to Nashville and the Elite Giants, and then we've got Jack Elder, who's our Pat Summitt Lifetime Achievement Award winner, and Jack was the longtime executive director of Special Olympics of Tennessee. Our Tennessean of the year is the great Bill Dance.
Yeah.
So we're excited.
How does that not happen already, by the way?
I know, right? It's,
how many times do you hear that?
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And that's why we encourage people to say, hey, go to our website and look and see who's been honored, who's been inducted. See if there's somebody who you just maybe assume that is already in. I'll give you an example from somebody who's going in this year's Gene Patton Latimer. So Gene Patton Latimer ran in the late 40s, early 50s at Tennessee State before it was even called Tennessee State. And so a lot of people assume, well, Gene Patton Latimer's got to be in, right? Well, she wasn't. And I think it's one of those omissions by assumption. So anytime people can go to our website, tshf.net, they can look at every inductee from across the years, see who's in. And if there's not, then there's a link at the top of the page how you can nominate, and it's as easy as filling out a form and sending it to us, and that's how we remedy some of those.
I know that you have a level of involvement in selecting inductees, but it's probably not great because there's a board that votes on that and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Who are you looking forward to? Who are you aware of right now that is not in the Hall of Fame that
wish list almost?
That's a great question.
I try.
So to answer the first part of that, you're right. I'm more administrative than anything. I do look from time to time if there's somebody who's not in. I saw not too long ago Fly Williams is not in Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, and I was like, that's interesting. Struck up a really good relationship with Austin Peay this year with Coach Luce being inducted. Made sure to mention it. That's how kind of how I can make sure that people are on the radar. Hey, did you know that Fly Williams not in? Oh, really? No. Here's a nomination form.
Yep.
I can't nominate him, but
hint,
right? Yeah. I mean, there are several All-Americans. When you look at the University of Tennessee, East Tennessee is a bear. I'll tell you, in the sense of we divide our nominations up West, Middle, and East, and you start talking about All-Americans, not just in football, but you got basketball now. Baseball is blazing quite the trail. You got track and field. We had Tiana Madison in last year. I mean, there's gaps. There are folks across the state where you look at it and you go, wow, I really have a hard time believing that they've not been nominated. And that's why we try to make sure. That's why I get out and kind of tell the story. Hey, it's as easy as you see an omission, you make us aware of it, and then we kind of take that to the nominating committee. East Tennessee handles, their region. Middle is the same. West is the same. And then once they kind of make their kind of regional collections, we come together and pare those down, and we can put in as many as 12 a year. But that's changing. We're gonna increase that a little bit.
Well, will you all continue to have inductions while you're dark?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The only thing that changes for us from a standpoint of the museum being sunset is we just don't have
The
a
museum.
physical space.
Okay.
We still have a golf tournament coming up in September. Love to have you guys out there if you want.
No, you wouldn't.
You can just talk. I mean, it'll be a nice,
we can commit to that part. I don't know
nice
if you want to see us out there.
But yeah, we'll do that every year. We'll continue to do our television special, which airs this weekend across the state. We're really excited about that. And we'll have our inductions as normal. So yeah, really nothing changes functionally for us except that there's not a physical space to come and tour. And that's one of those things that, like I said, it's bittersweet because you hate that the doors have closed on it, but at the same time, what's on the horizon. So you're excited about what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
You just know that you've got a little bit of a period of darkness there where you're just like, all right, we can't host the tour groups, but we're working on some ideas where maybe we can go to them, especially with the youth groups and things like that, where we can kind of take the story to them.
I got one for you, Brad. This is Sports Talk Radio, so we got to stir the pot a little bit. In your mind, in your fan mind, if you will, what's one team in the state of Tennessee, professional, college, otherwise, that in the next couple of years before the new Nissan opens that will produce an achievement that would be worthy of induction, aka who in your mind is set up to maybe win a title or to maybe have a historic run?
That's a great question. I heard Mayor Kenny earlier, and obviously huge Tennessee fan. I think that something he said, I tend to believe. I think that Tennessee winning the national championship in baseball is really the tip of the iceberg for what that whole, organization. I'm not finding the right word, but the
athletic department
is trending towards. I think that they are trending towards major championships in really all their sports. When you see what softball's done, when you see what Rick Barnes continues to do with basketball, when you see what Coach Heupel has done with football, Tennessee has become a force to be reckoned with. When I look at professional athletics, the Predators have made some moves. Yeah. I mean, that's a team that's gone from being, kind of defensive minded and let's play physical hockey and have a good, goaltender to, hey, let's go get some goal scorers and let's do some things, right? That they're going to be fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about the Titans. I know a lot of people will say it's probably too soon and maybe it's a year too soon to get excited about the Titans, but I like the moves that they made.
In that division, I'm not sure it is.
That's the point. Yeah, exactly. In that division, who knows, right?
I mean, it's Houston, but
Houston is Jacksonville from 2 years ago, right? I mean, the team that all of a sudden makes the playoffs and maybe thinks they're world beaters, and then you realize, they're probably a 9-8 team. That's what you kind of wonder about Houston. But I really like the fact, and like we're talking about the Predators, you got a team that was smash mouth, run the football, physical,
metamorphosis.
Now you've got this team that we expect we'll see, a kind of a high flying offense, and you've got wide receivers and a quarterback with a cannon for an arm. And can the pieces all fall together for them? I mean, they seem to have shored up the left side of the offensive line.
Thank God.
Right? I mean, that was just a turnstile last year.
Yeah.
And so this year you kind of hope, okay, you've got the quarterback's blind side protected with big investments. You've got 2 first-round picks and a big free agency pickup with Cushenberry at center. So can you find 2 guys who are kind of in your system who can shore up the right? Well, if that happens, you've got weapons. You have weapons to score, and the NFL now is about scoring.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see, how that all comes about. The story changes in the state of Tennessee every day, and that's, one of the things that we talked about with the old museum, and obviously one of the things that we're talking about with the new space. Every day that story gets bigger, that those list of people just continue to grow. So we want to make sure that when we do design the new space and we get it in a place where when we open in 2027, that by 2029, it's not outdated. We want to be able to kind of add on and tell that story as it grows, because it's growing every day.
Brad Willis, Executive Director of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, as we get ready for the official Kavaris Tears Day ceremony at 4:30 on the courthouse steps here in Lewisburg. Lewisburg native Brad Willis joining us. Brad, we appreciate you dropping through. The next time you're on our show, lose the sports jacket because you're making us look bad, man. It's July 9th out here. It's hot.
It's hot.
It's hot. But you look good.
Well, thank you. I'm trying to gear up. I feel like I've been wearing like board shorts and flip flops for the last little bit because I've been working from home, and I've got a banquet in a week, and so I feel like I gotta
get in the mode.
I gotta get in the mode. It's like you got like when you're running a marathon, you got to carb up. So I'm gonna jack it up a little bit.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
It is now Coach's Corner, and we are visiting with University of Tennessee Southern tennis coach Bill Riddle, who is back from his trip across the pond to Wimbledon. Coach Riddle, good afternoon.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well, thanks. I'm excited for this segment because I've not known a whole lot of people who have actually seen Wimbledon in person. Was this a first for you, or is this something that you kind of make a habit of, or how does this work?
Well, I'm pretty lucky. I've been a number of times, and as Wade can tell you, I kind of wear a lot of hats in the tennis industry, in the tennis world, and been pretty fortunate over many years to see a lot of great places like Wimbledon and spend some time there. And so back from Wimbledon, but I'm actually coming to you from the middle of Toronto, Canada. So sorry for any background noise, but I was on my way to the club, and this is where I made it.
I should have prefaced this, Mo, by telling you, get ready to be flexed on. Bill loves to do this, so I'm not surprised.
Sorry.
No, I'm unflexible in more ways than one, but no, that's fantastic. So London, Toronto, where in the world is Bill Riddle, huh?
Well, my wife said the same thing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So clearly the event is still going on, so you weren't able to necessarily, or you did not stay for it in its entirety. How long did you go over?
Right. I was there for maybe about 10 or 12 days. I was there for mainly all of the qualifying rounds and first couple of days of main draw up until probably like Wednesday, Thursday, and then had to get back. But yeah, for those who've never been to Wimbledon, it's a truly remarkable place, a truly remarkable tournament to be able to be a part of and be around. It's just the atmosphere is unlike any other tournament in the world.
But anyway, we are now joined by Nebias Wilborn of alltitans.com because, every now and then Grant Carthon has to remind us, hey, I'm still out here in these streets. Earlier today, it's been reported that the Tennessee Titans have signed safety Jamal Adams to a 1-year deal. That's 3-time Pro Bowler Jamal Adams, former first rounder out of LSU, coming to the Titans to help shore up the back end of that defense. Nebias, good afternoon.
What's up, gentlemen? How's everybody doing, man?
We're doing well, man. How are you doing?
Hey, trying to enjoy these last few days, I suppose. You know how it goes. Can't complain.
So what is the significance of today's transaction?
Well, I mean, if you're a Titan safety, you might be a little concerned about your viability on the team. I mean, this was a position that was still one of need, and they went out and got what they believe is the best player available. And they got a guy. Now, again, how good is Mr. Adams today in 2024? I do not know yet, considering the fact that he hadn't played a full season, 3 years, if I'm correct. And I think the last couple years, he's really been kind of in and out and struggling to stay on the field. So we'll see. But if he's healthy, I got to think he's better than what the Titans have right now, right?
One would think.
Jacksonville still has Trevor Lawrence, who I think people have been a little hard on him. Maybe some fair, maybe not fair. But you can't tell me he's not a top 15 quarterback in this league still, right?
Yeah, we talked about his contract a couple weeks ago, and 2 years ago had a really good season. And that's where I kind of am not sure what to make of this guy, because last year was a real clunker. But the question is, was that a one-off, or is that something that we maybe see as kind of a pattern for Trevor Lawrence? He's kind of a real head scratcher to me.
I mean, it's a tough thing to know because because how do you know? Was he healthy? Was he not healthy? I mean, they had Ridley down there last year. They had some good moments, but they also struggled. But again, hey, this still was a team that won games. They still were in the mix for the playoffs up until the last week of the season, where I remember correctly, right? Where the Titans eliminated them, right? So this is a team that you have to say, even with Lawrence being down, still is a quality football club, or still can be a quality football club. Okay. And we talked about the Texans. We talked about the Colts, who, again, the Colts were right in the playoff mix towards the end. And you look at the Titans schedule. Where are the wins going to come from?
And that's the thing, when you talk about this Titans team, as we talk with Nebias Wilborn of alltitans.com here on Main Street Sports today, whatever it is that you expect out of the Titans, it doesn't take place in a vacuum. If they beat somebody, then somebody loses. And so, while that sounds obvious when I say it like that, the fact of the matter is, where do those wins come from? Who do they beat? And how do they match up with those teams? I mean, you look at the collection of talent that is going into training camp here in about 2 weeks, I guess. And you feel like, one, it is better than last year. But how much better or how much worse have those other teams that they played during that 6-11 season last year, or in this upcoming season? How much better or how much worse have they got?
Prime example. They played the Cincinnati Bengals this year, right? And the reason why they played the Bengals is because of how the crossover worked with the two teams having the worst record in their divisions. Well, the Bengals were missing somebody on their team.
The Bengals were missing somebody on their team.
Who's kind of important. A little
fairly
bit
important. Yeah.
Just a smidge,
Yeah. He's a little impactful.
But a slight bit, right? Guy named Joe Burrow, but maybe you've heard of him. I don't know, but
depending on how closely you follow professional football.
Right. I mean, he did take a team to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and I still think he was pretty good. So you're missing him. Well, you're probably not going to be as good. It means you're going to lose games, and also a very tough division, AFC North, with the Steelers and the Ravens, and a Cleveland Browns organization that actually got his stuff together, right? But they play that fourth place team. They play the LA Rams, who also were a fourth place team, who I would imagine under Jim Harbaugh, excuse me, the Chargers. I'm sorry, I said Chargers. Chargers. You keep forgetting there's two teams in LA, but I'm saying the Chargers. Right?
I'm glad it's good. I appreciate you doing that, because it makes me feel better, because I keep wanting to put the Chargers in San Diego, and they ain't been there in years.
Yeah, so, well, that's the thing. Yeah. But then the Rams were in LA for 20 years, and then they're back in LA. I don't know, man. Who knows?
Yeah.
You have to keep a scorecard to know where these teams are. But
absolutely.
But seriously, I mean, you look at their schedules, not an easy schedule. The Bears might be better with Caleb. We'll see. I mean, the Jets will have Aaron Rodgers back. We'll see what that looks
theoretically.
Like. Well, you assume. I guess he's going to show up and play football, right?
Well, you assume he's going to stick around for more than 2 plays?
Right. I mean, the whole highlight of the season is him running out with that American flag, and then 2 plays, he's done. Which, I mean, but that's sports, man. And that's one of the things about it, sidebar, it's kind of like Kawhi Leonard, right? Where we just saw where he, and people were like, oh, well, Kawhi. But I'm like, hey, man, that man won championships, man. And that man, to me, is one of the best players of his era. You know what I'm saying? I would put him in his era, his years of playing, I'd put him right in the top 5. Like, I think he's better than Jimmy Butler, for instance. You know what I'm saying? I think Jimmy Butler is really good. I don't think he's better than LeBron or Steph, but hey, there were times when that boy was neck and neck, especially in Toronto. But injuries, man.
Right.
Injuries. It happens, man. Sports are a cruel mistress. Thing about sports is we love sports. Sports don't love you back.
That to be a good bumper sticker, if nothing else. Saturday's result, was not up to par. Is that a sign of just a team that's just had a one-off bad performance, or was there something more that you maybe can attribute that to? Because it did seem like a very uncharacteristic lapse, especially in that second half at times from NSC.
I think it's a little bit of a team ready for their new coach, honestly. They announced BJ Callahan coming in, and he'll start taking over the team next week after these 2 more MLS games. And I'm not questioning anybody's professionalism or anything like that. I think the players want to win, but I think they are human beings as well. And if you look at the fans and the fans' reactions, it's pretty similar to the players of that. Well, it's a new era. We know the new era is going to start. We know who's leading the new era, and we're just excited for that part. These games right now, while they are important, they aren't necessarily top of mind right now. And again, I think the players were out there doing their best. I don't think anybody was subpar in their efforts. However, I do think, like I said, they are humans and they were able to, these things kind of are hard to control. And I think when you have a new coach coming in, you try to impress them. And maybe there's a little bit more of that, of players trying to impress or players trying to do a little bit more try too hard at things that maybe they aren't the best at necessarily. So it's hard for me to call it a one-off, but it's not Nashville's DNA to give up quick succession goals, even at their worst. But now it happened 2 games in a row. So I think what I'm saying is on Wednesday night, we're going to know whether or not this is a systemic problem or something that'll stick with Nashville or something that they can shake off and move forward.
Valerio, I got to ask you, switching gears real quick, go international here. The Euros wrapped up yesterday. Can you put into words how impressive Spain was? And can you also put into words how crazy it was watching Yamal for Spain ball out with some of the best in the world? He was 16 when the tournament began. He turned 17 like 2 days ago. And he was out there in the final of the Euro just putting on a clinic. And I'm just curious your thoughts on the overall tournament from Europe.
I think if anybody was bathed by Messi when they were a baby, they would have the same performance. That's exactly what happened to Lamine Yamal. In all honesty, no, it's unprecedented. I mean, you're looking at a 60-year-old who was the youngest ever player to play in the Euros, the youngest ever player to register an assist in the Euros, and the youngest ever player to score in the Euros. So yeah, he's one of a kind. It's crazy because he can have 10 more years of 10 more seasons as a soccer player, as a professional soccer player, and he will only be 26 years old. So I saw a stat that said Lamine Yamal was 12 when COVID hit. So that's how young this guy is. But he's playing for Spain. He's starting for Spain. He's playing for Barcelona, one of the best teams in the world.
And we are joined now by AJ Good of Exports Network, also a correspondent for the Lawrence County Advocate, which is a Main Street Media of Tennessee partner. So, AJ, thanks for joining us.
Hey, no problem. I might be the first guest you guys have ever had that's joining you live from Disney World, but it's good to be on the show today.
Well, we certainly appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully we can get you out in time that the youngsters that you're there with aren't too unhappy. So
I'm just praying he's not tearing up the pizza joint across the street. He already spilled all of his snacks. So.
Oh goodness. AJ, news started to bubble up about a week or so ago regarding a move with a Summertown multi-sport athlete heading south. Well, we finally got it nailed down over the weekend. Grayson Burleson has enrolled at Loretto for his senior year. Now, that's Vanderbilt baseball commitment, Grayson Burleson, joining the defending Class 2A state champion Loretto Mustangs. But I'm telling you, I feel like this is a bigger move from a basketball standpoint.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. I mean, for both sports, it's a big boost for Loretto, like you mentioned. Going over to the baseball side, having a big arm, a guy that's going to be pitching in the SEC here in a couple years, and adding him to that staff, that young staff. I know they lost a Carter Daniel and a Clint Seymour, 2 guys who were big for them during that state title run. But not only do you add that arm to that pitching staff and that rotation, you add that bat, because he has a lot of pop in that bat. And he's a guy that can do it a lot. His defense is really good. He's very streaky and sneaky with his speed on the base paths. So they added something big. And just like you mentioned on the basketball side, I mean, you already got guys that can play in the Case and Bowies, the Corbin Reynolds, and the Mason Tidwells of the world. Then you add Grayson Burleson to that bunch, and this team just got pretty good.
And they were pretty good to start with.
Right. Yeah, I mean those three I just mentioned. Plus, they only graduated one senior last year, and that's Glenn Seymour, and he was their lone senior. And it's been a really young team. At one point, I think 2 years ago, they only had freshmen and sophomores on that team. And last year, Glenn was their only senior. So this is a really young team, and a lot of guys that got a lot of playing time. You add Grayson to that bunch. You start looking at them from not only can they get to Murfreesboro, if they do, what are they going to do once they get there? And you certainly like their prospects.
And with a veteran coach like a Greg Tipps, they were supposed to go to Murfreesboro in 2020.
Yeah.
And the pandemic canceled the boys state tournament at that point. Right. They've not been able to get back to that point since. In fact, I don't think they've gotten out of the region the last 3 years, but they won 20 games last year, lost in the region semifinals. I don't know that Grayson is necessarily the piece that pushes them over the top, but he certainly adds to a very talented roster, like you said.
Yeah, they've. If I'm right, they've lost in the region 3 years in a row on a buzzer beater. At least 2 of the last 3, I know they've lost at the buzzer, and all of those games have been at home. And just like you said, Maurice, it's not a guarantee with Grayson that they're going to get to Murfreesboro. I think all 3 of us know, we've been covering high school sports for decades, that nothing's a given in high school sports. Anything can happen. I've seen it everywhere I've been. Anything could happen. But when you look at it, Grayson is a big energy guy. It's a guy that plays down low really well. He's not the best shooter. He's not the best free throw shooter, but this guy's an animal on the boards, plays really well inside. And just like I mentioned, rebounding wise, he'll get a bunch on the offensive, on the defensive end. And when he gets them on the defensive end, he's a threat to immediately take that ball down to the other end of the court and get you a quick bucket. He's probably one of the best, if not the best, in all of Southern Middle Tennessee when it comes to that.
Yeah, AJ, and I'm curious if your Coach Tipps, obviously we'll get into the baseball discussion in a moment because that's worthy of being discussed. But this is the fascinating angle is the basketball discussion. I'm curious, in your mind, how much of Coach Tipps's game plan makeup of his team suddenly has to change in the blink of an eye, as opposed to maybe what he wanted to do with the team he thought he had up until about this time last week, and now he has a brand new piece of the puzzle. Does that change at all in your mind?
A little bit, but I don't think too much. If anything, they'll probably play more up and down now, maybe play with more pace. They were starting to play with more pace last year, which was certainly helpful. What hurt them a little bit at the start of last year was Bowie had mono, and it took him, mono sucks the life out of it. So it took him about a month and a half to get into the flow of things. But if anything, Greg's a really good schemer. His X's and O's are as good as anybody in Southern Middle Tennessee. And one thing Grayson can do is maybe add a little bit more up tempo to that. Add somebody that can play down in the post with Kaysen, Bowie, and I think that's one thing that will change a little bit. I don't think schematically he's going to change much, but with someone with Grayson's talents, he's certainly going to add a few wrinkles here and there.
Other basketball angle to this, AJ, I'm curious. All 3 of us have been to Summertown's gym, and we know how close quarters it is. How early are you going to have to get to the gym the night that Loretto plays at Summertown this season to get a seat, you think?
The day before?
School lets out at 3:15, so 3:20 better be your best bet to get there. It might be. I haven't seen scalpers outside of a high school basketball game since true story, since 1994. My dad pulled me out of elementary school to go watch Jason Williams and Randy Moss go play. Yeah. My dad was a high school basketball ref when I was growing up. I got to see those guys alive. So I got to see Randy Moss and Jason Williams. They also had another guy named Bobby Howard who played 8 years in the NFL on that team as well. And they played Beckley, who has more state championships than any other basketball team, boys or girls, in the state of West Virginia's history. That's the only time I've seen scalpers outside of a basketball arena for a high school game. That might change when Loretto goes to Summertown. That's normally about a middle, early February game.
DuPont High School, right?
Dude, you got it, DuPont High School. And you know what the crazy thing about that is, Maurice? they consolidated with East Bank High School, and that's where Jerry West went. So if they were growing up in today's day and age, you would have had Randy Moss, Jason Williams, and Jerry West on the same team.
Oh, and Bobby Howard.
And Bobby Howard, yeah.
Let's not forget Bobby Howard.
Yeah.
As long as you've gone this way, do you ever come across Jason Williams highlights on social media and not stop and watch them? Because I don't.
I on my Twitter, I've got about 5 highlight feeds bookmarked, and I go back and watch them, and I'm like, I got to see that in person in high school.
Wow.
When as a little kid, and I knew that kid was big, and his first college stop, was at Marshall, and his coach was Billy Donovan. And when Billy Donovan left to go to Florida, Jason went with him. Now, Jason got into a lot of trouble, which is kind of the story of his life, moving off into the pro aspect of it. But I'm not kidding you. The first play of that game, DuPont wins the tip. Jason takes 2 steps across the midcourt line
and lobs it.
Throws a behind-the-back alley-oop that Randy Moss catches one-handed and slams it down. Yeah. It was unreal watching those guys back in the day.
I'm a little grudgeful, AJ. I'm just going to tell you.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
It is now time for Coach's Corner as we visit with Marcel Williams, who recently, earlier this year, resigned as girls basketball coach at Brentwood after 3 seasons. And was announced yesterday as the new girls basketball coach at Centennial High School. So he's going from Mallory Lane in Brentwood to Mallory Lane in Franklin. Coach, welcome to the show. Appreciate you taking some time with us, and congratulations on your new gig.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on this show. I've seen it a lot on my Twitter, so I'm really happy to be here.
Well, we're really happy to have you, and that Centennial swag looks good on you as a two-time Centennial parent. I see Greg Glass has already got you taken care of, so that's good. Good to know that he's handling his business. Coach, when you stepped away at Brentwood back in March after 3 years as head coach and 5 years as an assistant before that, what was your plan at that point for the 24-25 school year?
My plan was, honestly, I wanted a different opportunity. It didn't happen. And then I was just comfortable not coaching, just trying to take a break for the summer. But then when the summer kind of rolled around and team camp started, I was missing the action. I wanted to get back out there. And when I talked to Centennial and the administration, it was like a no-brainer to me. I liked the history of it, trying to climb back to the top. I know they was there when I first started in the district in 2016, 2019, around that range. They went to sub-state. So I know they can do it. It's just one of them times I just felt like this is the right opportunity and test my coaching ability at this school.
And I guess things moved kind of quick because Bruce Hamilton took over Centennial softball, 10 days ago, maybe something like that, and stepped away from the basketball in doing so. He's has some success in the Alabama softball ranks. So guess he felt a little bit more suited for that spot. But how did it go? I'm always fascinated in these coaching hires. Did Centennial reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? How did that evolve?
I'm gonna say it was mutual.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it was mutual. I would say this. The administration staff, they respected me as a coach. They liked what I brought to the table, and I would say that was sold to me. A lot of times you go into the hires, they don't really know you, and they already familiar with me, and that made me feel welcome. That made me feel like they really wanted me to take over the program and lead it to a direction that they thought it should go. So I'm gonna say they did a really good job, and the meeting was just like family, a couple guys just talking.
I'm Maurice Patton along with Wade Neely, and we are joined now by the voice of the 2024 National Championship University of Tennessee volunteer baseball team, John Wilkerson. John, thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Great to always catch up with you, Mo, and Wade. Nice to join you as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking time today.
Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, a couple of things. There were a couple of things that we wanted to get you on for. One, as disappointed as you are, I'm disappointed for you that you will not be in Cooperstown this weekend for the Baseball Hall of Fame induction of former Tennessee standout Todd Helton, going into the hall along with Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, and longtime manager Jim Leland this weekend. Obviously, you got to call some of his games when he played. I don't know if you had him in the booth with you at any point since, but obviously the two of you guys go way back.
He was gracious enough to jump online with us this year after he threw out the first pitch for the first time, and that was against LSU in that weekend. So he joined us from down in the Tennessee locker room, and that would be the closest that he's been to being up in the booth. But great to catch up with Todd. It was really something to see him kind of usher in a new era of Tennessee baseball. My first 2 years were the 2 years preceding his freshman year. So it was the last 2 years at Lower Hudson Field, and then the doors open, the gates open, I should say, at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. And that was either the house that Rod Delmonico built or the house that Todd built, or Rod and Todd, but
Mhm.
that was it. Tennessee won 3 straight SEC tournaments with the Eastern Division tournaments that they used to have back then, won back-to-back SEC championships. And again, he just lifted the expectations as to what could be accomplished on the diamond in the orange and white.
That's kind of where it started, I guess. And John, when I heard somebody say once that Frank Thomas was the only player from the Southeastern Conference in the Baseball Hall of Fame, it just blew my mind. The fact that Todd just becomes the second out of this conference is really kind of wild to me.
I would agree. When you take a look at the history of the conference, I mean, it goes back to 1933. There have been incredible baseball players that have come here through the decades, but there's just one until tomorrow. I mean, actually Sunday, that is in. And so I do think that number is going to grow pretty quickly. But it is something that kind of stands out. And it's something that obviously Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the conference, is very pleased to see that number double as of this weekend.
Double, absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be quite the show, I guess, on Sunday when Todd gets recognized up there, and looking forward to that. It's just part of what's really been a great year for Tennessee baseball this year, I guess.
Without question. And was catching up with Larry Simcox, a longtime Tennessee assistant, and he said, just take a look at these last few weeks, because what you had was the last out recorded in Omaha. Tennessee wins the national championship, its first ever. And then after that, you kind of make your way into the draft where you have 5 players selected in the first 3 rounds. You have Tony Vitello named the Baseball America Coach of the Year. And now you have Todd Helton going into the Hall of Fame. It really is a remarkable run that it would be tough for any team to say it's equaled that. And when you throw in Tennessee winning 60 games for the first time ever for any SEC team, that's also another significant feather in the cap. So you would be hard pressed to find any stretch of 3 weeks where any SEC baseball team could say it fared better.
60 wins. I mean, that's a pretty amazing number, but at the same time, again, when you talk about the Southeastern Conference and some of the teams and some of the talent that you've seen come through here, it's kind of hard to grasp that nobody has ever done that before. Austin Peay baseball coach Roland Fanning, Coach Fanning and the Governors coming off of a 35-21 season up in Clarksville, an Atlantic Sun regular season championship, and quite an impressive showing in last week's Major League Baseball draft. Coach Fanning, appreciate you taking some time with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm fired up. I'm first time on the show. Got to get this happening more often up here in Gov's country. Come on.
Hey, come on. Yeah. Well, again, 4 guys going in the draft the other day. I mean, that's kind of eye-catching. I don't think that has ever happened at Austin Peay. Certainly not since they've gone to the 20-round format of the draft. And that was just kind of eye-catching. But before we get to that, just take us through your second season as baseball coach up there. You guys did some pretty stellar things over the course of this season.
Yeah, that's a long answer to a short question coming for you, but we had a phenomenal year. Year 2 was we fell a little short at the end, but it was from the student athlete perspective, we again had another team GPA of above a 3.0. We had the student athlete of the year, we had the player of the year, we had the defensive player of the year. All 9 offensive players in our lineup made all conference. One of our pitchers made all conference. We rewrote the history books in every offensive category here at Austin Peay. Lyle Miller Green was the first consensus All-American, which means every All-American ballot there was, he was on it. He was also the first ever first-team All-American in school history. We had 2 academic All-Americans. On top of that, we did 600-plus community service hours here in Clarksville, Tennessee as a team. And, I think we checked every box on and off the field. And, credit to our fan base, our community, our parents, our players, our coaches. We just have a really cool thing going on right here. We kind of found our niche, and you said it. We had 4 guys drafted. which 5's the record in a 40-round draft. We had 4 in a 20-round draft, and we kind of were disappointed. We thought we might have 1 or 2 more in there, but things are going in a very positive direction. I'm super thankful. Trust me, I'm super thankful.
Coach, for everything that you just mentioned, those community service hours kind of jumped out to me. That's no small feat. And I mean, in a community like Clarksville, I would think that's a big deal just in terms of you guys getting out and being visible and building those relationships. And hopefully it's resulting in folks showing up at the park and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we have a saying around here, in order to lead, you have to serve, right? And I think having a servant heart and being a group that, we don't do things like 1 or 2 guys. When we show up, it's 35 to 40 of us, whether it be turkeys for troops or there's a shoebox program here for underprivileged kids. We get a boxed up toys. We did some cleanup projects, whether it's ringing the Salvation Army bell, whatever it may be. When people ask us to do things, we kind of come in a group as a team. And, you don't do it for people to ever do anything for you in return, but I think that when our guys are out and they're visible and they're doing things, I think that are impacting others. In return, if you happen to win some ball games, people want to come watch and see these guys, right? And we also broke the attendance record twice this year. I think those little wins in the fall of doing things for other people, and when the tornado hit through, we're out there running around and doing things for people. I just think, again, Clarksville's a baseball town, it's a baseball community, and they'll rally around you if you're doing things right. And we got, again, I'm not saying our guys are perfect because they're not, but we're doing a lot of things right in a lot of areas, and people are excited, and that's all we want to do is excite the community and get people involved.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
We are now joined, coming to you from, I believe, the Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. It's the world traveler, Scotty Rogers of the Cotton Bowl game, coming on with us. Scotty, good afternoon. Looking good in that Carolina blue, by the way.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Great to be here. Yep, coming to you from the Queen City here for ACC Football Media Days. And yeah, I've been a little bit of a traveler here the last couple of weeks. Was in Vegas for Big 12, Pac-12, and Mountain West Media Days. And we were a host for SEC Media Days in Dallas last week. And then this other little thing was going on called Major League Baseball All-Star Game was going on the same time as well. And now here in Charlotte for ACC, and we got staff members out at American and Conference USA in Arlington and Frisco, and also up at Big Ten in Indianapolis. So we're trying to get all around the country. this time of year.
Goodness gracious. And the airlines aren't helping you any, are they?
Ooh. Oh man, it's been a tough run for a lot of us. Luckily, knock on wood, my flight here was fine, but I had friends visit me over the weekend, and there was flight issues coming in on Friday, going out on Monday. So obviously that security breach that happened not only affected the airlines, as you all know, it affected a lot of things from television to banking to business all over the world.
That breach didn't leak who the participants are going to be for this year's Cotton Bowl game yet, by chance, did they?
No, the interesting thing this year, with this new 12-team playoff, you got to earn your way in. You got to get there. So you got to win at least a game, and you might have to win two to get there this year. So we're excited about this upcoming year. A lot of conversation in the off season about what the new look of what our bowl experience is going to be. While there's going to be a lot of the same, there's going to be a lot of things that are different. But we're excited about that, frankly, because we really want to be able to, as I use the term, modernize our traditions, be able to do the things that we're known for, but yet maybe do some new things and maybe add some wrinkles that we can do, looking at things a little differently going forward with this championship season that's going to be coming up at the end of this upcoming 2024 season.
Right now, though, it is Coach's Corner, and we are joined by Summit Wrestling coach Pete Miller. Now, you might ask, it's summer. Why are they talking to a wrestling coach in the middle of the summer? Well, if you've been around high school wrestling at all, you will know that champions are made in the summer. Am I right, Coach Miller?
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Pete, for years, has been part of the Team Tennessee contingent that goes out to Fargo, North Dakota, to take part in a freestyle and Greco national tournament for wrestlers from middle school age up through high school, basically. And it's some of the best wrestling that you will find for that age level, from what I understand. I've not been fortunate enough to go, but I know plenty of people that have and swear by it, and not just the tournament, but what it takes to go to the tournament in the middle of July and basically not get embarrassed, right, Pete?
Oh, absolutely. It's the largest tournament in the world. There's over 1,000 representatives from each age group for boys, 16U and juniors. And a lot of this is what you're going to see in the Olympics, freestyle and Greco wrestling. Here in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see Team USA compete for an Olympic title. And this is that style of wrestling. So many of actually every single Olympian that we have representing the United States competed at this tournament when they were in this age group in high school.
That's a nice little feather in the cap of that tournament, I guess. And I guess at the same time, for wrestling, it's almost a prerequisite to get to that point. Is that right?
Oh, this is the tournament of all tournaments. Everybody competes in wrestling November to February. What college coaches want to see is who's willing to put the time in between February and the upcoming November. This is the tournament where you will see every single college coach rubbing elbows, joking around, looking at the big names. And this is the tournament where if you want to be discovered, this is the tournament you compete at.
I'm Maurice Patton, along with Wade Neely, and the man in the middle is Major League Baseball veteran Nick Swisher, who spent 12 seasons with the Oakland Athletics, the Chicago White Sox, the New York Yankees, the Cleveland Indians, and, of course, the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, yeah. How you guys doing today?
We're doing well, Nick.
Right,
appreciate you taking some time with us. Nick is in town. There was a luncheon earlier today here at First Horizon Park to, I guess, inform folks about Home Run Derby X, which will be taking place here at First Horizon Park on August 31st.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Swisher, he of the 245 career home runs, will be taking part in Home Run Derby X. This is the third year of this venture by Major League Baseball, and Nick has been involved from the jump, as he informed us. So, Nick, kind of tell people who aren't as familiar with this what it's about.
Sure. At the end of the day, I mean, I guess the difference between Home Run Derby and Home Run Derby X is Home Run Derby X is a 3-on-3 co-ed offensive and defensive home run showcase. So that's the easiest way to explain it. What it is we kind of put ourselves out there. We kind of recreate the baseball field. We don't use the full field as what it is. We have men and women competitors, which is amazing. We have our legends, which are ex-Major League Baseball players. We have our elite female athletes, whether they play softball or they play hardball. And then the third player on each one of those teams, which we had a competition here about a month ago. And we have 4 players from right here in Nashville that are going to compete as well with all of us. So I love the fact that it's an amazing event. I love the fact that it's a shorter event. It's not a 3-4 hour venture. It's really a 2-hour venture, really, if you want to think about it like that. And so I think for us, we've done this internationally. We've done it domestically now. And I think the one thing we're really realizing from Major League Baseball standpoint is that this plays great in minor league ballparks. It's a very intimate show.
Yeah.
It's a very accessible show. And I think that's one of the coolest parts about this is the fact that us as competitors really get to do our best at giving back to the game that has given us so much. So I'm a girl dad. So the fact that like my daughters have other people to watch hit rather than me, they're like, Dad, we've seen you hit so much. Now the fact that they're able to see like Jocelyn hit and Mia hit and Amanda's going to hit and Alex is going to hit. And so the fact that we have these amazing female competitors that are only helping us grow our game and hopefully growing the Home Run Derby X brand.
Yeah,
as
step
well.
aside and let the real hitters get in there and do some work,
I
right?
tell you, man, once you see the way these women can hit a baseball, you will be very impressed. I can promise you that.
Set to participate in Home Run Derby X here at First Horizon Park, in addition to the aforementioned Mr. Swisher, are Manny Ramirez, you're familiar with the name, Pedro Alvarez, former Vandy boy.
Oh, yeah.
Hall of Famer, or should be for sure, Andrew Jones.
Yep.
Former Oklahoma softball standout Jocelyn Alo, Alex Hugo from USA Baseball, Amanda Lorenz, a Pan American softball gold medalist who played at she played at Florida.
Yeah, she's a Florida 4-time All-American. Amanda Lorenz.
That's pretty strong.
That's what I'm saying. Don't be coming up in here with just 2 All-Americans.
Yeah, no,
we need 4.
you gotta have your resume correct, right? If you want a shot at this thing.
And Mississippi State's Mia Davidson Smith, who is the all-time Southeastern Conference leader in home runs with 92.
Oh, yeah.
Third in NCAA history. Also, Kyle Bowers from Ashland City, Bailey Holbrook from Simi Valley, California, Corey Lubinsky from St. Louis, and Tyler Marshburn out of North Carolina are your 4 amateurs. Is that?
Yeah, that's what we would call them.
Okay,
yeah.
Amateurs. Okay. And so again, 4 3-player teams.
Yep.
Each will have a legend, a woman, and one of those amateurs. So you'll play 2 semifinal matchups, and then you'll have 3 games?
3 total
basically.
games. Yep.
And points are scored again with home runs.
Yep.
And with catches, right?
Which is the best part about it,
Okay.
right? I think that's one of the coolest part about Home Run Derby X is being able to bring in that defensive side of the game. Everybody appreciates a home run, and we see a lot of those throughout baseball, but the diving plays, the amazing athleticism that we can see in the outfield, I think that's just an added dimension that I think separates our game from any other home run derby out there. So we're really, really excited about that. The fact that we've got offensive players, we've got defensive players, we've got men, we've got women, an all-inclusive game, man. Really, really excited to come here and put on a show here on the 31st.
So basically, the ideal would be for Andrew Jones to rob a home run, right?
Rob them and hit them.
There we go.
Yes,
there we
sir.
go.
Multifaceted. Nick, I got to ask you before we really get too far. I don't know if the team names have been announced yet because I'm going back through some of these older team names. I mean, Johnny Gomes with the steamed cheeseburgers.
Yep.
But you went with the bouncing pickles.
Yeah. Yeah, that was in Hartford.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I think that's the another cool thing that we've got going is it's not just Major League Baseball. This is showcasing the Nashville Sounds as well. And so we will be using 4 of their jerseys. I think we're the Nashville, the Hot Chickens.
Yeah.
We've got the Hit City. You've got the Sounds, and I think there's one other jersey that I'm missing. But the fact that we're able to go out and showcase all of the jerseys that the Sounds have to offer, that's exactly what we want to do. That's a really cool thing.
I think the 4th one is the Brewskis.
Yeah, the
according to
Brewskis.
the
Correct.
Best for last.
Cam Colin
We'll
over
be having
here,
a
so
few of
yeah.
those after.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
After? But not during.
No,
huh?
not during. Just after.
Not during.
Just after.
Okay. Well, I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Joined by the VOT, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Keith. Mike, you had any good barbecue lately?
Yes. I went to Memphis on Friday, so I've definitely had some good barbecue. That's for certain.
I know you did. I saw your tweet actually from Pollard's Barbecue, which I was unfamiliar with, but I'm sure they got a bump or will get a bump from people who have seen that tweet. The Pollard family, Titans running back Tony Pollard,
That's right,
are the proprietors of that eatery down there. How was it?
It was really good. It was really, really not surprising. I mean, it's a lot of great barbecue in Memphis, and I haven't met much barbecue I didn't think was really good. I like it, most all of it. But it was especially good. I thought their ribs were top of the line. There are different points that I think Memphis ribs can be overrated sometimes, and these were underrated in terms of that line. It was a lot more rib than it was just seasoning or sort of gristle. I mean, a lot of times it's over. They do the whole massive amount of rub, and the rub's supposed to be the thing, and then the rib itself isn't really that good. This was their rub is excellent. Their sauce is excellent. I like a dry rib. That's where I really judge that. But if you can find a sauce that goes with it, that's really something else. You go to Kansas City, get that, it's like they put like 8 things of sauce on it. It's like, I don't want that, I don't want it all over.
I feel like you're trying to cover something up if you're giving me a lot of sauce.
Right,
And
right.
so-
Well, I mean, some people like that, but I just think that's And if you find a good dry rib and then you can sort of give it just a little dunk of sauce to your heart's content because the sauce is so good.
Right.
It was a good spot. They had fried bologna, which made me very happy. Yeah, made me very, very happy. I thought their chicken was really good too. They had what I consider a delicacy, barbecued spaghetti, which you can't find anywhere. And that's because the barbecue sauce has to be good enough that it can go with the spaghetti. So it was a good spot. I came away very happy. I don't think I ate dinner on Friday because I was so full from lunch. If I did, I just had something really small. Can't remember. It was great.
Solid review for sure, it sounds like.
Not afraid. Yeah, not afraid to give it a big thumbs up. If it weren't good, I just wouldn't have said anything.
There you go.
It really is.
Heavy move there.
He shoots and he scores.
Yeah, we appreciate your resilience and your determination to get on with us, man, because we certainly wanted to talk to you about this article that you've got up on the Griot website on Team USA. It's a different look for this team going into these Olympics than it has been in years past.
Well, LeBron is a link here because he played on the 04 team, and that's the only team with NBA players that did not win a gold, right? So here he is on presumably his last Olympics team. He'll be 43 when it's in Los Angeles. So I don't think he'll be on the team, but I mean, I guess it's possible. But he could become the first NBA player to have 2 non-gold medals from the Olympics, which would be something to add to his list of accomplishments. I mean, you got to favor the United States just on the sheer talent alone. But the thing with the Olympics is, with the world catching up, it's not so much that we still don't have the best, say, 12 players, but we might not have the best team, because a lot of these teams, they play together. They're really teams. And whereas we always send an all-star team, which is different from a team. So, yeah, the talent has always been, except for 04, good enough for the NBA players. But now there's so much NBA talent around the world that I wouldn't bet against the United States, but definitely we should get some more competition. South Sudan giving us a run, I know it didn't count, but that would never happen, in 92 or, 90 in the 90s period. So I think it'll be interesting, because now, at first when the NBA players came in, all these guys were just like awestruck. Now they're like, yeah, this is my chance. This is my chance to show the world what I got. And they're not scared. So it'll be very interesting to see these teams that are more cohesive. They're used to playing under FIBA rules. Our guys play under FIBA rules like every 3 years. The games are shorter. It's a 40-minute game as opposed to a 48-minute game. Steve Kerr was mentioning that recently, saying, NBA guys, they're used to like maybe getting their rhythm after the first quarter or whatever. Here, you got less time to do that. So everything is working for more competitive games. Whether that means we don't win the gold, I'm not saying that, but it's definitely closer.
And today, that is Eddie Murphy movies. Not stand-up, but actual dramatic turns by the talented Mr. Murphy. And Wade, as always, the floor is yours.
Let's start it off. And I'll preface this list by saying these are ranked by me personally in terms of either watchability, likability, and just overall good vibes. So don't be going on Rotten Tomatoes and shaming me when one of these might have like 30%, because my man has made some clunkers, but I may still enjoy those.
Now let's also say this is by movie, not by vehicle necessarily. So if we say Beverly Hills Cop, that does not necessarily cover 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's the specific movie to me. So
oh yeah, that franchise in particular.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
So with that being said, let me start it off though with straight out of the gate. Give me the Nutty Professor. I had to look this up, Mo. There are only 10 listed actors in the Nutty Professor. And like 3 of them are basically extras, including Montel Jordan, who plays a small role as himself. But I mean, Eddie Murphy is that movie. So to me, that is the quintessential Eddie Murphy movie. I mean, just the dinner table scene alone that is just cinematic genius, and he does it so well. I got to go Professor Sherman Klump and give me the Nutty Professor straight off the rip.
I am going to straight off the rip go with the first one, 48 Hours. He and Nick Nolte. When it opens with him singing Roxanne in his jail cell, it only gets better from there. Yeah, 48 Hours, the first one.
Up next for me, go back to 88, Coming to America. I mean, it's really about as good as it gets. You get him, you get Arsenio. I mean, the laughs are going. I mean, it lives on today. There are just memes that live on today. That's kind of the classic rewatchable movie. I go Coming to America from 88.
You talk about there maybe being 10 actors in the Nutty Professor. Harlem Nights was an ensemble cast, and he kind of pulled it all together. But my goodness, the talent that was on the screen in that movie. You got Eddie Murphy, you got Richard Pryor, you got Red Fox, you got Della Reese, and you can't help but be funny in that one, and they certainly were. give me Harlem Nights at number 2.
Yeah, that's a like you said, an ensemble cast. I mean, they're throwing heat. That's a flamethrower type cast right there. Up next, this is the one that kind of a little bit of a renaissance in some regards, but it's animated. You got to go Shrek for me for number 3, because when Donkey comes out, I mean, this was kind of in that stretch where we're like, man, does my man still got any fastball?
Has he got any juice left? Yeah.
Has he got any juice left? We don't know. But one thing we did know after that, he was going to be paid for the rest of his life very handsomely, because Shrek obviously then spawns all kinds of royalties to his credit. So I got to go Shrek, though, the original, with number 3.
Oh, my number 3. I'm going to go back to his action movies. I'm going to go to the original Beverly Hills Cop, the first one. Again, does not miss as Axel Foley. So,
yeah, I mean, that should have been both of our number 1s, but I mean, this guy's got so many that I mean, there was fruit to be had.
Absolutely. Well, there's value deep in this draft.
That 100%. That's a tremendous value pick. I'm gonna go off the rails a little bit. No, I'm gonna save that for the last one. I'm gonna save that one for the last one. But I remember when this one came out, man. Just give me. How about Dr. Dolittle? When you're talking about Eddie Murphy, I mean, this was kind of right around my sweet spot. I didn't get to really enjoy, 48 Hours I got to watch growing up, but you really didn't get the true vibes, because it was I was a little too young to really bring it all in. But Dr. Dolittle was kind of right in that Nutty Professor sweet spot for me. So I'm taking that one as well from 98.
At number 4. Did you go with Coming to America?
The original.
The original. Okay. All right. All right. I am going to go. I'm going to steal chips. I'm going to go Trading Places. And again, great value at number 4.
Yeah. And that leads me to a good one for me. I was going to go crazy off the rails, but I've had a moment of clarity, and I'm going to come back. This movie was on TV a million times, and I would watch it anytime, but Life is about as good as it gets. I mean, you kind of almost forget about Eddie Murphy because Martin Lawrence is so good, and then you almost kind of forget about Martin Lawrence because Eddie Murphy is so good. I mean, that movie stands on its own. It's not the greatest movie that's ever been made, but man, I watch it every time it comes on, and I love it.
There you go. There you go. Do you make people laugh, as someone once asked him so famously? So yeah,
get right.
Life is very underrated in the Eddie Murphy pantheon. With the 5th and final pick, I'm going to go with The Distinguished Gentleman. It's I guess it runs a little bit too close to today's politics, but yeah, I like it. There's some great stuff in there. The Distinguished Gentleman is my number 5. So there it is.
I did not pick Vampire in Brooklyn. I just couldn't bring myself to do it, but I mean, that's worth mentioning. But
Metro is also worth mentioning. A very, very underrated action movie by Eddie Murphy there as well. So,
and I'm gonna get roasted, but I watched Beverly Hills Cops. I watched Beverly Hills Cop 3 a lot growing up, and I wasn't a film critic at 9 or 10 years old, but I mean, so I kind of enjoyed it. I mean, Judge Reinhold's not bad in it too. So I mean, 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. I feel like a real ding dong right now, but I mean, hey, I enjoyed it growing up.
That's always been my thing. I enjoy it, and all 5 of those, the answer is a resounding yes. So that is Top 5 Tuesday, here brought to you by Mid-South 5 Fitness. 2 great locations, one in Franklin, one in Columbia. Be sure and check them out at Steel Athletes, STEEL athletes.com. That's going to do it here for the Top 5 Tuesday edition of Main Street Sports Today. Be sure and come back with us tomorrow right here, 2 o'clock on these very same airwaves. We will see you then.